Hello everybody, this is Juliet and I am so excited. It is day one of our Beadalong. Yay! Hopefully you have all already watched the introduction video that covers the materials and so forth that you will need. So today we are going to be making our day one bead, which is our jeweled small bead, okay? Now, before we begin really quickly, I just want to let you know that there is a PDF download. I've printed mine small because I've printed mine in a booklet format. It's 23 pages long and there are over 90 illustrations in here, okay? So it's all step-by-step instructions for all 5 days. So all 5 days of the Beadalong are in here. This is only $5 if you want to download it, and I'll put a link in the first comment under the video if you are interested. It's not required. Obviously, the videos are free, but it's just a way that you can, if you prefer to work from a PDF, it's there for you. If you want to say thank you, buy me a cup of coffee, you know, it's $5. You can download that, or you know, if you aren't interested, then that's fine too. But anyway, I'm glad you're here and I'm glad you're participating. So I am using KO thread, and I did talk about that in the intro. Having a little bit of stretch using a nylon thread is going to help you out during this. If you've never tried nylon thread, I suggest you do. Personally, I'm not a fan of Nymo thread because I find that one shreds. I like KO and I like Miyuki. 1G is also a good option. I wouldn't necessarily use a Nozu Sonoko. I like that thread, but I think it's a little too thick for this project. We will be going through 15 beads up to 4 times in this, okay? So if you're not going to use nylon thread, you're going to want to use a 4-pound fire line, or the thinnest that you can find, okay? And you're going to need a size 10 needle and a size 12 needle on standby, because sometimes when we're embellishing the beads, this goes for the whole Beadalong, it's going to get a little tight, okay? One more suggestion, you might want something like, here I have a beading awl. You might want a knitting needle or a crochet hook or a skewer, and you can wrap tape around it, you know, like a skewer that you would use for barbecuing. Wrap some tape around it, because this is such a small little thing that we're working on. You might find it hard to hold, and sometimes having it around something makes it a little easier. So if you're struggling, this is my suggestion. Unfortunately, a pencil is too big, okay? So that's why I'm saying a knitting needle, a crochet hook, something like that. This is actually a little bit too small, but you could wrap some tape and make it thicker, like masking tape, and then just take it off when you're finished. Okay, so that's a little tip for you before we begin. So I'm using 2 different 11 beads. So this is my A bead here on the right, because I'm gonna be using my right hand mostly. So we're going A, B, C, D. So this is my A bead, my B bead, my C bead is an 8-0, okay? These are both 11s, 8-0, and a 15-0. It doesn't matter if you're using Toho or if you're using Miyuki, whichever one you prefer. So my 2 11s are both Miyuki brand. Here are the numbers for you: Miyuki 1088, Miyuki 1052. You can also use the Duracoat versions, okay? And then here, my 8-0 is a Toho. I put T or M depending on, so that I know in my stash, but this is Permafinish 558, which is the galvanized aluminum, or aluminium if you're from the UK. And this is 15-0, same number. These 2 are Toho, so I'm intermixing Tohos and Miyukis, okay? And then you're gonna need some 4mm beads. Now, they can either be rounds, say a gemstone, a pearl, or a check round, also known as a druk, okay? But not a check round as in a faceted check round like a fire polish, because they're not round, they're actually oval. So you want it to be a round bead, not an oval shape. It has to be a perfect round shape, okay? Or you can use a bicone, 4mm bicone. So it's up to you if you want to use crystal bicones or if you want to use a round. So here I am using some 4mm coral beads. Get yourself about 4.5 feet of thread, okay? 4 to 4.5 feet, which is about 130 centimeters for those of you that are overseas and use the metric system. 120 to 130 centimeters. Okay. So we're going to begin by picking up 8 of our A beads, and this is what we're going to be doing is called draw, D-R-A-W, which stands for diamond right angle weave, okay? Sometimes people say it stands for double right angle weave, but I think it's diamond, okay? So we're going to pick up 8 of our A beads. Okay, so we've got 8 of our A beads. You're going to push it down and we're going to sew through from the short tail end, okay? You're going to sew through the first 2 beads. And that's going to form a circle, okay? And I'm just holding on to my tail. You're going to want to leave about 4 inches, which is about twice as long as your needle, and that's just so that you can weave it in at the end, okay? All right, so in the instructions in the video, it's like this, okay? So this is my working thread coming out of the top. All right, we're going to pick up our B bead, and we're going to go through the next 2 beads, okay? So there's our original circle, and we're going through the next 2. And then we're going to do the same thing again, pick up another B and go through the next 2 beads, okay? Same thing again, another B bead, go through the next 2, and this is why I think it's called diamond right angle weave. And this is 2 drop, so there's 1 drop that only has 1 bead in between, so you'd pick up 4 and then add your corners. This one is 2 drop, okay? And I'm going all the way through the last 2 beads plus the very first B bead that I added in that round, okay? So let me flip this way and see. Here we are. So on the instructions, it looks like this. We are coming out here at the bottom on the side, okay? So to begin our next diamond, we're going to pick up 8 more of our A beads. So that is 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so again, 8. All right, I'm coming out the bottom, so I'm going to go into the top of that same bead right there. Okay, and so here I am coming out from the bottom. I'm going to go through the next 2 on that group of 8 that we just added. So we have a little circle, okay? You're going to go through the next 2. You're going to pick up another B bead. And you're going to go through the next 2 beads. You're going to pick up another another bead and go through another 2. That's what I'm trying to say here. And one more time, you're going to pick up you're going to pick up a bee bead. You're going to go through another 2, okay? And here you're not going to go into this bead. We're going to skip this bead so that it pops out, okay? So this is an important step when you're doing draw, is whatever bead you started your ring with, you always want to skip it. Because all the other beads have been skipped already when we picked up our 8 and we added them after, but this one has always been in it, so we want to exclude it, and that's what helps to form that diamond shape. Okay, all right, so here we are, we're on this side, and I need to get over to the end, so I'm just going to move forward through the next 3 beads. Okay, so now here I am, and on the instructions now I would be coming out from the top. Okay, so again, same process. We're going to pick up 8 of our beads. You always begin your next group with 8. Okay, so there's 8. That one's a little faded, but I'm not going to worry about it because you won't even see these beads. You're coming out one side of that bee bead and you're going in the other side. So we've got our group of 8, and then we just add our little corners on again. Okay, so we're going to go through the next 2 beads. We're going to add our corner. Make sure you're pulling nice and tight here, and this is where the nylon thread is really useful. Number 1, it's a little bit more slippery. And number 2, it does, because it gives a little stretch, it pulls that, that outside bead in nice, you know, you get a good tension with it. And then on the very last one here, we're just going through 2. Remember, we have to exclude where we started because we haven't excluded it yet. So I'm coming out from the brown bead, my A bead. I'm going to skip the B bead and I'm going to go up through the next 3 beads. And that's going to help pop that. See how that popped it in? So that's what we want to do there. And then we need to add one more grouping at the end. So we're going to have a group of 4. Okay. So if you're following along on the instructions, we're now coming out the bottom here, okay? We're gonna again pick up our 8 just like normal. Okay, so 8, and we're coming out the bottom, so I'm going into the top of that bead, okay? And here it's a little bit different because we're actually going to connect the front and the end together. So first we need to pass through the next 2 beads. Just making sure that that thread is not trying to sneak behind. Keep everything on the one side, okay? So I'm coming out from the second bead, and then I'm picking up 1 and I'm going up through the next 2, just like what we've been doing previously. Okay, so there's our first corner on. Okay, so we're coming out, going upwards, okay? So we need to go upwards into the bottom of the bead on the starting side, okay? So our thread is going this direction, so I'm going up through the far bead, okay? Pull it together. And then we're going to continue on over just keep going up towards the top that does not have the bead yet, okay? And then you're going to pick up 1 more bee bead. You're going to go down through the next 2, continue on through the next 2 beads. And then we have to skip this bead to pop it out, remember? So we're just going to go through the next 3 beads, skipping that bead. Okay, so we now have a little kind of square of 4 diamonds joined together in a little square. Okay. Okay, so my working thread, I'm holding it so that my working thread is coming out of the top side of our little square, okay? And on the instructions, I have kept them flat because you'll be working around in a circle, but I can't really show that on the instructions, so I just kept it flat, but just imagine that one end of it joins onto the other end, okay? All right, so we're going to pick up a B bead, a C bead, which is our 8-0, and another of our B, okay? So, and we're coming out here, so I'm going into the very next bead on the top here. Sorry. Okay, so we just added 3 beads between those 2 peaks right there, okay? And we're going to repeat that again. So pick up a B, an 8-0, and a B. And again, we're going to go through the next peak, the next point over, okay? We're going to do that 2 more times. So pick up 1, 1, 1. Go through the next bead. We're just working around in a circle here. Oops. There we go. And we have 1 more side to do here. 1, 1, and 1. And here you're going to continue, so you're going into that bead and then continue through the next group that you already added, like the very first group of beads that you added. Okay, so you're going to continue through those. All right, so one side of your bead now has a top on it. And now we're going to pass through that middle, the gold bead that is connected onto our diamond, pass through that one, okay? And snug it all up. And then we're going to work our way through these beads till we get to the point down here. So just follow the beads in a line. And you might find it easier when you get to that side bead to go ahead and do that separately, because these ones are at a different angle than that one is. And if you can't get through all of them in one go, that's fine. Just do them one at a time if you need to, okay? All right, so here we are now. We're on the bottom, okay? So we're now going to add, again, what we did on the top side, we're going to do on the bottom side. So I'm coming out right here. I'm going to pick up a gold bead, an 8-0 bead, and another gold bead, and I'm going into the next bead over. Okay. They're just going to sit in between like that. And you're going to do that 3 more times. And when you get to where you're adding your last one, go ahead and move through that very first unit that you added just to get away from your last unit. Move through until you get to the bottom point of a diamond, your first. Okay, and then you can pull that all nice and snug. All right. So we now have this. This is the base of our bead. So tomorrow we are going to start with this exact same base. So you're going to want to do this again tomorrow, okay? if you want, you might even want to come pre-prepared with it already made, okay? All right, so now we're ready to begin actually embellishing our bead here, okay? So once you've actually moved through to that middle, make sure you pull nice and snug and everything, okay? And then we're going to add some beads. So what we're going to do here is we're going to move up through the, make sure you're coming out of a point of the diamond, and you're going to move up through the first 2 A beads. If I can get in there. There we go. We're going to pick up a 15-0. Okay, so we're going to pick up a 15-0. We're going to skip this B bead right here, and we're just going to go straight up into the next 2 A beads. Okay, so that 15-0 is going to just sit kind of sticking out a little bit, like almost not quite on top of that bead, but kind of in front of it. All right, we're not going to enter into this bead up here. We're going to continue on through the next 2 A beads on this diamond. Okay, and again, you're going to pick up another 15-0. And you're going to go down through the next 2 A beads. So we're not entering into the B bead that's here. We're just going straight down into the next 2 A beads. And then you can continue on into the base bead and the next bead. And you're going to move around until you get to the next base of a diamond. So you're going to move through your gold, your 8-0, your gold, and then the next B bead, which is the base of the next diamond, okay? And we're going to do this for all 4 sides. So you're going up your first 2. You're adding your 15-0. You're going up the next 2. Go ahead, skip that top bead right there, okay? Go down the next 2. Pick up 15-0, go down the next 2. And then you're going to pass through the base bead plus the B, the 8-0, the B, and into the very next base bead. All right, so here is my tail right here. Just ignore it. You want to just keep it out of the way as much as possible for now, okay? So just tuck it off to the side, and we're gonna add, again, our 2 15-0s. So go up here, add 1, up over, add another, and then you're going to move forward and you're going to do it one more time, and I'll come back when I'm adding that last one on. Okay, so you can see that I am adding on my very last 15-0 here, okay? Oops. Let me get that tail out of the way, okay? And then I'm going to sew through that base bead. All right, so here I am. I've just finished adding my 15-0, moved down, and coming out from that base bead there, we're going to move forward through the next 2 beads. So we want to be exiting from our 8-0, okay? So go ahead, move forward. We're going to pick up 3 of our 15-0 beads. Oops, accidentally grabbed 4. 3 of our 15-0 beads, and you're going to sew up into the left hand 15-0 that's directly above your 8-0. Sorry, okay. Kind of reshape my bead here. Okay, this is why I'm saying it's useful if you stick it on something to stop it from squishing. Okay, I'm gonna hold it on there just for now. Okay, so I've come up through my left hand. I came out here and I came up through the left hand 15-0. I'm going to pick up one of my 4mm beads, and remember this could be a bicone, it's up to you. I'm coming out the top of this 15-0, so I'm going to go into the top, going downwards on the far side. So I'm going across the big diamond here, okay? Then we're going to go back through that 4mm bead, and then we're going to go back up through that very last of that line of beads, which is the one that we added a minute ago in that in those steps we were doing. Okay, and then we're going to continue on. So we're going to pick up 3 more of our 15-0 beads, and we're going to sew back through the 8-0 that's at the top. Okay, so we're going the other way. So normally we're working in this direction, but this time we're going through this way. Okay, and then you're going to go down through that very first 15-0 that we just added, and you're going to pull, and you want it to center over that 8-0, so you kind of want it to be like in the middle a little bit. Okay, that's going to be a shared bead. Then you're going to pick up 2 more of your 15-0s. We're going to go down the 15-0 that's on this side. Okay, and try and get your tension so that it kind of shares between the left side and the right side as well as you can. I mean, you don't have to stress too much, it'll work itself out. And then we're going to pick up 2 more of our 15-0s, and we're going to go into, so remember when we added 3 right here, you're going into that third one. So the first one, that's the very bottom one, okay? And then we're going to enter from this side into that 8-0, and you can pass through that next 11-0 as well, and you want to try and get that centered as well. So just fiddle around. The first one is kind of the hardest to get the tension right, but you kind of want them, you want it to form a kind of eye shape here. Okay, all right, so now we are going to move forward all the way till we come out from the so if that's the diamond, you want to come out from that B. So you're really just moving through your 8-0 and the first 2 11-0s. Okay, so you went back through and you're coming out here. Now we're going to pick up 3 of our 15-0s again. Okay, you're going to go up through the next 15-0 that's beside your gemstone or whatever you added. Okay, so we're going up through here. You're going to pick up 3 more. You're going to go sideways through that middle 11-0, so which is the top of the diamond. Okay, so you want that middle one. It's just, and we're going back towards where we have been coming from on the top. Okay, then again we're going to pick up 3. We're going to go down. You're going to have to count here. 1, 2, 3, 4. So you're going into the 4th one, which is the one that is attached onto your gemstone here. We're going down into just that one 15-0, and this is where you may need to switch needles, yeah, I can't get through, so I'm going to quickly switch needles. Okay, I switched needles and now I can get through. Just don't force your beads because you might end up popping one and you don't want that to happen, okay? And then we're going to pick up 3 more. And we're going to go into that bottom bead plus the next 2. So you want to exit from the 8-0. Okay, so we now have, this was our first little eye shape right here, okay, and then this is our next bigger one. And then we're going to do the same thing that we did here. So we're going to pick up 3 15-0s. We're going up into that left hand 15-0 that's there, okay? We're going to pick up our gemstone. We're going to go down through the one opposite on the diamond, okay? We're going to go back through our gemstone. Give it a little pull to snug it up and then back up through that top 15-0. Then we're going to pick up 3 more. You're going backwards through the 8-0, back towards where we were coming from. Then you're going to go down that very top 15-0. Okay. Try and get it centered on that 8-0. Pick up 2. So here we picked up 3, but we're sharing this one. That's why we're picking up 2. And you're going into the 4th seed bead here, which is the middle one. There's 7. So it doesn't matter if you count up or down. It's the one that the gemstone is attached onto, is the one that you want to go into, that 15-0 bead right there. Just that one bead, okay? And again, just be really careful when you're pulling through that you're not popping a bead, okay? Okay, so see how that kind of centered itself when I pulled it there? Hopefully yours will do that too. And then we'll pick up 2 more and we're going to go down into this bottom bead on the left, the bottom 15-0, to make this eye shape right here. And then we're going to go through our 8-0 and the next 11, and we need to move forward into that bottom 11 here. Okay, so here it's simple. We're just going to add 3 up into here, 3 down to this bead here, and 3 down to this bead here. Then you're going to move forward. You're going to add 3. You're going to add your gemstone. You're going to add 3, share a bead here, go down 2, add 2 into the shared bead here, and then one more time you're going to repeat all of that, okay? And that then will have our bead covered, but there'll be one more step we have to do. So I'm going to let you continue working. We'll get those steps finished and then I'll be back. Okay, so remember that once you've added your last gemstone and you've added your eye, you still have one more step to do, which is to add those beads, the little 15-0s around your last gemstone. So don't skip that, or you're going to have a one side that is missing its embellishments. So just remember to go ahead and add those last sets of 3 going around your last gemstone. Okay, so I'll quickly do that. Okay, so I am just adding my last 3, and you'll notice that some of my beads look really jumbled up and a little bit weird, okay? Do not stress too much about that right now. Go ahead, move forward until you get to where you're exiting from the next 8-0. So just keep going around. 2 more beads. Okay, so now you will notice that this side, the top is nice and flat. This side is all over the place. That's because we've run around this side while we've been working. So we're going to even that out, and we're going to go back up. So to the other side, and we're going to run around there. So we're going to go up through the bead that's above that 8-0, okay? And I need to kind of pull it over a little bit. So I'm going to, you can either go up the right side or the left side. I'm going to go up my right side here because it actually needs to pull a little bit to the right. So doesn't matter whichever side you think needs a little bit more tension, go up that side, okay? You're going to go up through this skinny, so it's the kind of eye shape that's not around the gemstones. It's the eye shape that is around the 11-0 that's kind of hidden in there, okay? See if I can get in here. Okay. And it also might be that maybe one of your beads is too tight to fit through, in which case just go up the other side, okay? Whichever side works for you is fine. Alrighty. So once you come out on the other side, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to move back because we've been going backwards through that top side. So I'm going to go through the left-hand side to the right-hand side and try and straighten this out a little. Okay. So what we're going to do here is some of these beads are quite jumbled up, as you can see, and we're going to fix that. So go ahead and move through the next 2 11-0s so that you're coming out at the top of the next diamond around a gemstone, okay, or a bicone or whatever you happen to be using. And be careful that you don't get caught underneath one of the other threads. Okay. All right, so I'm coming out from this bead right here, okay? I'm going to go through the first 3 beads around the gemstone. I'm going to skip this shared bead here, this shared 15-0, and I'm going to go straight into the next 3 beads. Okay. I'm going to skip this bottom bead and I'm going to go up the next 3 beads. I'm going to skip that shared bead right here on the side of the gemstone, and I'm going to go through the top 3 beads. And then I'm going to skip this top gold bead and I'm going to go down the first 3 beads again. And what we're doing here is we're just pulling this these beads in towards our gemstone a little bit more and pulling them together a little bit more. Okay, so give them a nice little tug. We're just tightening that up, and what that does is it kind of eases the space for these bits right here on the side. Okay, so that's why we're doing this. And then to get back up to the top to continue on, we're going to take a shortcut through our gemstone and back up through those last 3 beads. And then you can go ahead and continue through the 11-0 that's at the top. Okay, so I actually had gotten looped around this bead without even knowing it, so I just fixed that. So yeah, once you get through your gemstone, you go up and go through the next, the top 11, and then we're going to continue forward through the next 11 and 8/0 and 11 and into the next 11 that is above the gemstone in the middle there. And make sure you're pulling this nice and tight because this is going to even out this top line here. We're basically reinforcing this top line. So you want to pull nice and tight. See how that's kind of pulled that 8/0 more in line there. Okay, so again, I'm going to just reinforce around these beads in order to pull them inwards. So first you go down the first 3, skip that shared bead in the middle, go down the next 3 15/0s, skip that 11 at the bottom, go back up through the 15/0s, and when you pull that, you want to pull them so that it kind of makes almost a circle, or if you're using a bicone, it'll kind of form like a diamond around your bicone, okay? And then skip that shared bead again, so up through the top 3, and then we have to close this gap, so we're going down the first 3 again to close up that top gap there, and then take a shortcut through the gemstone or bicone, whatever you're using, and continue on back up. Okay, so once you've finished doing your last one, you can go ahead, pull through, and any reinforcing or tightening that you feel like needs anywhere on your bead, you can go ahead and do that, and then go ahead and tie off your threads and sew them in. So I'm just checking that that seems pretty good. Everything here looks pretty good to me. So I will, now you could, if you wanted to, you could sew down to the bottom and tie your 2 threads together, which I think is what I'm gonna do. I just like to do that. So your tail, your starting tail is actually coming out from the first brown next to this gold down here. So what you can do there is, I'm gonna go around the 15/0s if I can get through. I might not be able to here. Let's see if I can. All right, so I got through those 15s. Okay, I'm going to pass through that gold that's right at the bottom there, and then I'm just going to tie my 2 ends together in a square knot. So right over left, left over right. And tie one more. Okay, and then I will just sew through the gold bead and around the base with this one and cut it off, and then I'll sew the other direction with the other tail and cut that off. And that will be our first day bead complete. So if you want to do a little bit of prep work ahead of tomorrow, you can go ahead and make the base of the bead again, if you remember that we did at the beginning. Otherwise, you can just start again tomorrow and do it then. So I'm going to cut this one off. And then this tail is going to go the other way. The other nice thing about the nylon threads is they come in such a variety of different colors that you can pick one that blends in quite well with your beads so that it doesn't really show. So I'm using a beige because I find that that works really well with golds and silvers. And anyway, okay, so here is our first bead. I got 5 beads out, but we actually only use 4. I always get one out just in case something happens to one and I need an extra one. You never know when they're going to ping off your mat or whatever. Anyway, so here is our first bead, and you know, this can be made into a tassel, which I will show you tomorrow. Either bead can be made, either of our small beads, so this bead or our spiral bead. Both of these have the same base, and they can be made into a tassel like this. Okay, so I will show you that tomorrow. Okay, so I hope you've enjoyed our first day's bead. I'd love to see yours. Make sure you join the Jules and Rose Facebook group so you can share, and everyone is posting in there what they're doing for the Beadalong. Okay, take care guys, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.